here in the future. All right, Tim, let's shift gears, man. Let's talk a little Packers roster shakeup here, man. This was an interesting day, I thought. And listen, I've been sharing Easton Butler's tweets. Guys, Easton Butler has been spot on. Yep. The stuff that he's covered, man, it just, I mean, all the way down to the players' numbers. He's got the players' numbers before it hits anybody else. Anybody who thinks Easton Butler doesn't have an inside link there to the Packers, it's either jealousy or you're in denial, right? So
sit your butt outside.
There were people that were replying to tweets I had earlier on, this guy's a fraud, he doesn't know anything, and I'm like, boy, y'all haven't been following him very close, have you? So anyway,
or you're too overly emotional and reading things that aren't there. You know, right. Like one thing I've noticed following Easton Butler is that it's just facts. You know, calls were made, conversations are being had. There's no hype. There's no, specifics or anything. He's just calling it like he sees it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Jen Wright says Sadie has to defend his report. It's so true. And it's just best to block those people, man. That's what I do. Just, you know what, if you disagree with what I have to say, why are you even following me? Why are you following along? So
if you hear someone say, hey, phone calls were made and there's conversations happening and then nothing happens, does that mean you're incorrect, or does that mean that you just reported that there's conversations happening? Right.
Exactly. So I put a tweet out and said, for all those in the comments saying Easton Butler doesn't know what he's talking about, Matt Schneiden actually tweeted out 1 hour ago before we went live, the Packers are looking into the possibility of signing free agent cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. According to a source, nothing definitive, but there's interest. All right. And he's got more here. Go check his article out over at NewYorkTimes.com over at The Athletic. Now, I've been chatting with Easton Butler, and the reality is, guys, Asante Samuel was in-house. I think it was last week, I believe. It was either last week or last month. So, yeah, that's real, you know. And now you get Matt Schneiden, who obviously is a more decorated reporter. He's one of my favorite beat guys, to be honest with you. I love his sense of humor. I love the way he covers the game. Him and Bill Huber, I think, do a great job. But he's pretty much confirming exactly what Easton Butler had talked about. I kind of wish Matt Schneiden would say, hey, Easton Butler was all over this first, but, yeah. And this is what he said.
But again, we're talking about conversations, right?
Right, exactly.
We're talking about meetings. We're talking about, and Asante Samuel Jr. is a free agent. So that's got to be conversation between him and his representation. No more, no less, right?
Definitely. So what Matt Schneiden tweeted out was the Packers are looking into the possibility of signing free agent cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. According to a source, nothing definitive, but there's interest. Basically the same thing that Easton Butler has been saying the entire time, right? Now, there was somebody in the chat here that says, here we go. Sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to step on you there. Holmes MD1 said, I would take a flyer on ASJ for a year or two. I would too, Holmes. But like Tim pointed out, there's other people, right, there's other people that are seeking him too. So it's, if you go in there and go, yeah, let's do a 1-year deal, he's probably going to go, stick it up your rear end. I'm going over here where they offer me.
I'm thinking he's going to want a 2-year minimum, right? Probably at least a 2-year, even if it's a fake year, right?
I think it's more about the guaranteed money. And what I mean by that is, let's say a team offers him 2 years, $10 million with $5 million guaranteed.
He's signing that.
Well, think if we offered him 1 year, $8 million, or 1 year, $10 million, or I'm sorry, 1 year, $8 million fully guaranteed. He's probably going to take the 1 year because he's getting $3 extra million in guaranteed.
More guaranteed. Yep.
Yeah. So you protect yourself from that fusion that he's gotten. Right. So what was the comment you want to hit there, Tim? I'm sorry, man.
Just too old for this here. Butler clarified every single time he has said something that calls don't mean sure things, but people still acted like he was saying it was done deals. And that's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, a lot of these, accounts and, we'll speak specifically about Easton Butler, man. It's just facts. He's plugged in, he's aware of what's going on, and he's not setting narrative. He's just telling you what he's privy to, so shout out to Too Old for this, for acknowledging that. That's exactly what we saw all day online. Right. And he almost did this and nothing happened after the deadline. It's like, bro, nobody said it was a done deal. We said there were conversations. Relax.
It's right there with the people that are all week long. They said nothing about they should start Haversick over McManus. And then the second McManus misses a kick, like, how do you march him out there like that? And it's like, Bub, show us your comments earlier in the week where you were saying they shouldn't. That's that whole Monday morning quarterback and stuff, which most of those people, when they're doing their watch parties, they're drunk as a skunk, don't remember anything anyway. That's a story for another day. Rob Domofsky with a tweet here. Packers roster moves. So tight end Tucker Kraft officially goes to the IR. We all knew it was coming. Obviously, it goes without saying, the ACL. Excited about the comeback story there for Tucker Kraft. Now, defensive lineman Aaron Mosby, tight end Josh Whyle to the active roster from the practice squad. So I've seen some people reporting too that you'll notice down here the next line, Tim, tight end McCallan Castles, tight end Drake Dabney, linebacker Christian Welch, wide receiver Michael Woods II to the practice squad. And they were going, McCallan is replacing Tucker Kraft. And I'm going,
no, incorrect.
Josh Whyle is the one on the active roster. Now, maybe they know something I don't know. That's possible. And Josh Whyle gets cut, right?
Let me be clear. You don't replace Tucker Kraft. There's no replacing that guy.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point, man. So Josh Whyle is the one that we need to key in on, though. And I, just watching the tape, guys, I went back today when I got through with Chalk Talk and putting everything together. I went back and watched all of Musgrave's snaps, okay, from this year. And there are times that he's technically playing the Y, but in those times they have Tucker playing the U, motioning out in RPO flats and stuff. So they did become somewhat predictable with Tucker. Not that it mattered because he's just running through cats' faces all day long, right? Yep. But the point is, I think what you're going to get with Musgrave is he's most of the time going to play U, and I wouldn't be surprised if Fitzpatrick becomes the Y. Now, what does that mean? In 12 personnel. That means the guy on the line of scrimmage is the true Y. Okay, the guy playing off the line of scrimmage is going to be your U, and he's typically your motion guy moving back and forth, right? So with that being said, in 12 personnel, I think Fitzpatrick will be on the line because he's a better blocker than Musgrave. But when you go to 11 personnel, I think Musgrave is going to get a large majority of the snaps as the Y in 11 personnel over Fitzpatrick, obviously. Now, there'll be a little bit of a rotation because they even did that with Tucker. They would take Tucker off the field occasionally, put Fitzpatrick in there at Y. Now, most of the time that was a running play, and maybe that is predictable, right? Kind of goes back to what Jason Y was talking about the, if people caught on to the scheme. Mike McCarthy was really, really good at self-scouting, and not that Matt LaFleur and his staff isn't, but you self-scout every week and make sure you're not becoming too predictable. I think they need to kind of maybe key in on that a little bit more, because if this dumb redneck is picking up going, okay, yeah, well, that makes you can see that coming a mile away that they were going to use the tight end in that fashion, then I know the smartest coaches in the league can spot it, if that makes sense. So, Tim, I think what you're going to see here, long story short, is you're going to see in 12 personnel, Fitzpatrick attached on the line, Musgrave moving around like the U. And then when you go to 11 personnel, it's going to predominantly be Musgrave with Fitzpatrick filling in. And then Whyle will be now become the Fitzpatrick of the offense, if that makes sense.
Definition of next man up, right? Everybody moves up a notch, get down or lay down, right? And if you're laying down, there's no room for you. Makes a lot of sense why there's two more tight ends on the practice squad right now. Yeah. And shout out to Lecitus Smith, by the way. That's kind of on a personal level, it's hard to see him released. Just helped him and a couple other Packers just helped build a home with Habitat for Humanity up here in Green Bay for a veteran. So big shout out to Lecitus Smith, a guy that trying to find a way onto this team, and just ultimately it's a business, and was released. So we wish him the best. Thank you for your service, Mr. Smith. 3-4 months in Green Bay, already making an impact in the community. So big shout out Lecitus Smith.
Absolutely. So, and who knows, Tim, he may be back, right?
He may be back, right? Hopefully.
Now, again, tight end Drake Dabney, McCallan Castles, and then you got linebacker Christian Welch, wide receiver Michael Woods II to the practice squad. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on all that. I want to touch on what Coach Lynn says here. I want Belton at tight end, extra lineman with Musgrave playing the U. Hey, this is called, technically it'd be U71. Remember the U71 bacon that we talked with when we had Mike Wall on the show years ago? He would talk about Kevin Berry playing I think it was Kevin Berry or Kyle Berry. Kevin Berry, that's right. Kevin Berry would play U71 bacon. They bring in that extra tight end. So here's the thing with that, Coach. There's two ways you can approach it, right? You can go press into 11 personnel now, or you can press into, like you're saying, a heavier look. Now, I will say this. I think we're one of only 3 teams that has not lined up all year long, that has not lined up a offensive lineman at tight end this year. I believe
Yep.
I read that correctly somewhere on social media. If that is indeed true, okay, so maybe that changes. I'm not opposed to it, Coach, but here's the way I look at it. As Bill Belichick always said, and he got this from Bill Walsh back in the 80s. Players win them and coaches lose them, right? The goal is get your best players on the field. So my question would be, and again, it doesn't mean it never's gonna it never should happen, Coach, having an extra lineman out there. But my question would be, who's the better player, right? Anthony Belton, or let's say a Matthew Golden, let's say a Christian Watson, or Romeo Dobbs, or Jaden Reed when he comes back, right? And maybe before Jaden Reed comes back, you press into what Coach Lynn's saying here a little bit, and dabble in that a touch, see if it sparks the running game. That might be the approach too. So for me, man, I would rather see them press into 11 and run out of 11 personnel, and let's spread things out a bit, which you guys remember I said this last year too. Like, I want to be very, very clear, Tim. It's a very biased opinion because I like more spread approach. When Matt LaFleur came in with the condensed sets, I was like, I don't like this. And then Aaron Rodgers wins 2 MVPs. You win 13 games, and Clayton had to go, set your ego down, bub. They're doing something right, and
love that Punch Nasty X now, right, Clay?
Yes. So, the approach is when you go spread, you open the defense up and you can run inside, right? Well, when you go with the condensed sets, you can now run outside because everybody's compacted in. Well, the problem is you're going condensed sets, in my opinion. And again, I'm not a former player or a coach or anything like that. But when you go condensed sets and you run in the middle, to me, you're playing into the teeth of the defense. I think that's what's wrong with the running game a little bit. But again, that was my answer last year as well. And I wasn't a big fan of the SIF block. Now there was times it would spring people in the split flow looks and things like that. But I would like to see them get a little wider. I would like to see them spread it out, run inside, condense it down, run outside. It's like they're terrified, Tim, to get back to the wide zone run with Josh Jacobs because it doesn't fit his skill set. Josh Jacobs can run wide zone. You see that boy cut on a dime, and that's people hear wide zone, they hear stretch, whatever you want to call it, 26, 25. When you see these type of runs, people immediately think, oh, they're running to the sideline. No, stretch is to get the defense flowing horizontally and then cut back off of it. I mean, you want to get a guess on that or a good look at that. I hate to do this, but go back and watch the Denver Broncos of the 90s. They were the ones who basically invented that. Yeah, not invented it, but they perfected it. Lombardi actually invented the zone blocking scheme. Many people don't know that. But
Terrell Davis running over people's faces all day long. Yeah.
And what they did there was you had old man Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, right? Old man, that's hilarious. You have Mike Shanahan, who came from the Bill Walsh tree. He said, all right, I'm going to take Bill Walsh's West Coast offense, short passing game, and then I'm going to marry it up with Alex Gibbs's zone blocking scheme. And what formed out of that was a wide zone boot scheme. How many times did we see that freaking John Elway?
Yeah. Terrell Davis kept running it because nobody could do anything with it.
Terrell Davis running the ball down your throat, and then he would boot off of it with his mobility and arm strength. And it was just like, Lord, how do you stop this? Right. So, yeah. But Coach, I think I would not be surprised one bit if we see what you're suggesting here, man. I really wouldn't. I'm just more along the lines of I would rather see him press into 11. Malik Heath, guys, I think he's way underrated, man. He may prove me wrong if he gets an extra, 20 targets or whatever. He may just start sucking. But up to this point, boy, does he maximize his opportunities. And
love Malik Heath, man. I haven't loved anybody wearing 18 in Green Bay since Randall Cobb.
There you go. Let's talk about Josh Whyle for a minute. I know there's many people going, who is this guy, right? What has he done? And listen, he may end up being the number 3 tight end for a while. He may be here for a week and a half and he's gone, Tim. But here is who Josh Whyle is. All right. So first of all, he's 6'6". Some people said 6'7". It could be, right? But they got him on PFF at 6'6". He runs a 4.69 40-yard dash. He was a former 5th-round pick of the Tennessee Titans in 2023.
Thick.
This is his 2024 grades, Tim. So he doesn't have any grades in 2025. You can see, man, he peaked at 86.2 on however many, 4 targets there. I'm trying to see the snap. I don't have the snaps. That's okay, though. So In 2024, his best grade was an 86.2. His worst grade, however, was a 45.3. But the majority of them, it looks like, were somewhere between 60 and 70, for the most part, maybe more 50s than 70s. So
And
probably
if you look at the targets, they're on the lower end for his lower grades.
right. Which again, that's what we were talking about,
Yeah.
right? It's like he's not going to be the focal point when he's in there.
Exactly.
So now let's look at his career grades. Okay, 2023 is 62, and he was targeted 15 times. Those targets more than doubled in 2024 to 36, and his grade went up to a 64.8. Tim, that's pretty solid grade, man, for a young player who's getting limited action. That means limited practice reps too. So
almost like the front office knows ball, and that's why he's in the fold right now.
Right, and I'm excited to see what he does, man. I really am. Again, I don't know how long he's going to be here, but you're going to be seeing Josh Whyle. There's no two ways about it. He's going to be in the lineup from time to time. So that is your new tight end that I think will be on the active roster at least for the foreseeable future. Now, obviously, we've talked a little bit about Musgrave, Tim. Let's hit on this, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I just put this out. This was one of his grabs. It's more about the situation where he makes this grab, Tim. That got me fired up. I tweeted this out. Jordan Love to Luke Musgrave for 21 yards on the game-tying fourth quarter drive. Okay, that's important, guys. You're talking about you're trying to go down and tie the ball game up at the very end of the game, and they connect on a 21-yard game, which, by the way, that's an explosive. That triples your chances of scoring on that drive. Therefore, this is the play that set up the game-tying score, right? I said one thing that pops off Love's tape recently is he's developing touch on intermediate passes. I'm excited to see what Musgrave can do with more opportunities. In this particular game, guys, 3 targets, 3 catches, including this one, like I said, in the fourth quarter. Let's roll it real quick, and we'll give you just 1 or 2 looks at it here. So you see the play fake. That's that orbit fake we were talking about. Not a big fan, Tim, right? Just because, you see everybody flow in that direction, yes, but does it freeze enough? It's more about the cross corner route that you're seeing here. Notice Musgrave is going to run a cross corner, and also Dobby is going to bend in and run a corner route. So what you set up for Jordan here is kind of a boot action play where you got a high-low read. You read the corner up top down to the cross corner. So you're reading up top, mid-level, and then you could dump it off to Savion if you need to as well. And Savion could turn into a blocker if Jordan wants to run. It's more of a true play action set than a boot, obviously. But you see Musgrave right here making his cut back outside. Look at the touch on that throw.
Oh, and I love zero hesitation either. You
Right.
see as soon as he's into that break, Jordan's letting that thing fly. And I love it.
No doubt about it, man. So again, I thought that was a nice little play there. Musgrave does a good job hauling it in. Now listen, it could have been a better ball. Don't get me wrong. Let's watch it one more time, and then we'll cut it before we get clipped here. So it could be a little bit better ball to the sideline, but still Jordan, that touch, man, that's the part of his game that I'm seeing improve the most. And I think what Musgrave did there, Tim, was he's just proving that he's I think he's ready for the task. Now I don't expect him to be the yak god that Tucker Kraft is. Anybody who expects that, man, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. But I think what he does do is he runs clean routes. He's got good hands. He's got a size advantage when you want to take a shot on a linebacker or a safety. And I think he'll be a nice little fill-in there. You'll want to put Fitzpatrick in a position to block the majority of the time, but there's going to be times in 11 personnel that Musgrave's going to have to block. So
that's what I talked about last night. We want the piss a little hotter in the blocking scheme for Musgrave. That's really the one part of his game that me personally, I'd like to see him kind of take that next step, but I'm not worried about him as a route runner and a pass catcher. Looking at that play, you're right. If Jordan puts a slightly better ball, maybe you get a little yak on that, but I think he saw that help, biting down over the top, and he just wanted to get that thing in Musgrave's hands. And great hands catch, turn up field. Musgrave stayed on his feet. Let's go. And, another thing we can't forget is the trust factor is there. That's already been built. The foundation is there. Jordan trusts Luke Musgrave as a pass catcher. And you can see it right there on that play. No hesitation whatsoever. It's real easy to take another hitch and maybe try to go to another read in that situation. He fired that tater right away. I love it.
Definitely. Jake with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. When Jordan gets his deep ball down and hits receivers in stride, 40-plus yards, he'll be great. Yeah, that's one part of his game he can work on for sure. Although that ball he put on Christian Watson, boy, I don't know how you throw it any
like
better.
Emilio said, right in his face mask.
He just put it right on his face mask. And Christian Watson looks so smooth, just falling backwards, making that grab. Oh, it's awesome.
You think Scoot's taking protein powder and hitting the gym thinking maybe he can play a little tight end in a pinch?
Oh, you know it. You know it. And Jake, we're actually going to hit that next. We're going to talk Christian Watson here in a second. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. 2-0 for this. Musgrave needs to start eating mac and cheese. Yes. Yes, sir. Get it in your system there, Musgrave. 2-0 for this says if the ball is right on 88's hands, he will catch it. If it's off, then that's where I get nervous. He also seems to have a lot of miscommunication issues. Hopefully, with him being tight end one, that clears. That's what I was going back to over this. Like in those situations where you're in 11 personnel, he's not getting as many practice reps as Tucker was with Jordan, right? So they're going to start to develop a little more chemistry. That chemistry they kind of had his rookie year where you had, before he got hurt, he had over 400 yards receiving, right? His grade was like a 68 PFF grade. But then when he got hurt in his second year, Tucker just took that job and ran with it, right? So
that's a great point, Clayton, saying that like now that he's in the one, you know, he's going to get those reps, the communications, the checks, the cans, those kind of things, right? Choice route, you know, post snap kind of busted play, scramble drill. Those kind of things are going to come together for Musgrave. I think
that's one thing that us fans, myself especially, overlook from time to time. We get so caught up with what happens on Sunday that it's easy to formulate an opinion, just like people raking the coaching staff over the coals for not starting Haversick over McManus. Guys, they watched them kick all week. Do you think for a second they went with the worst kicker on purpose? Like, you know what I mean? Like what it tells me is McManus looked good in practice. Now, I think he kind of overthought it in the game. Now, listen, that's not to say McManus is the kicker of the future. They may cut ties with him after this year. The reality is they can free up almost, I think it's $1.6 million in cap space next year if they cut him outright. So it's really, they got a 1 year out. It's a 3-year deal with a 1 year out. And then they can just move along with Haversick. I just like the idea that they got both there. And nobody's more upset about missing that kick than obviously than McManus is. So again, if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know what you think about the latest Packers roster moves. Let us know about the tight end position. How do you feel about Musgrave? How do you feel about Whyle? Do you think that they'll keep Whyle? Do you think they'll move on from him and maybe bring up one of these practice squad tight ends and put them in the lineup? Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, let us know what you think in the comments, and click that bell icon when you're notified, so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Let's see what do we got here, Tim, before we move on to the next spot. Holmes says, Tim, the piss heater upgrade will be complete for Monday's contest. Fingers crossed.
I absolutely love it. I'll be in the building. I hope the piss is hot for 88 on Monday. We're going to need them. We are. Philly is no joke, right?
Mandy's trying to talk me into going up there. She's like, we can hop on a flight. We can be up there in a couple of days. We can get there. I'm going, stop it. Just stop it. You're going to. This girl.
I'll pick you up from Straubel. No problem. I got you, Clay.
I know you do, man. And listen, I'm saying stop it because she knows all she got to do is she ain't got to push very hard, and I'm on that plane, man. I'm up there with my
scared money don't make money.